The idea of seeking your own approval and being your own judge, I think, is one of the most important and challenging concepts. You said, I think people hear it but don't take stock in it. I think the reason that is because it really requires the individual to, like, you have to be able to consider you and your point of view. Then you have
Hmm.
to be able to consider another person and their point of view. And then you
Yep.
have to be able to take that third step and zoom out and be the looker at
Yep.
the
Yeah.
interaction that's
Yep.
happening and be
Yep.
like, well, what do I think about what I did?
Hmm.
Or what I'm doing, or what
Hmm.
I've done, or what I want to do. And so many people, and I can tell you this from firsthand experience because I grew up in a situation that led me to be in fight or flight often just
Yeah.
because it was just the way things were. So I got to about, 24, 25, and I was in a great job, and I was like kind of ebbing in and out of fight or flight, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And when you're in fight or flight, you're in that first person. There is no
Hmm.
considering the other person. There is no zooming out and taking stock of a scenario. And my
Yep.
point in saying all of this is I think the reason that people struggle, to your point, to make connection with that point that you're making and really like carry it for what it's worth is so many people are stuck in first person and they're not
Oh.
able to even
Yep.
consider the
Yeah.
other, and then they're
Yep.
definitely not able to consider, well, how do I feel about myself, my own approval? So many
Hmm.
people are listening to somebody else and they're like, well, what does my boss think? And I was in this space for a very long time. What does my dad think? What does my mom think? What does my boss think? What does my coach think? What do the people in Toledo think? What do the people at Domino's think? You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that can get you far, but people only know you as well as they're
The
able to know
information.
you,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Exactly.
you've been with you forever. So
Mm.
once you start doing your point, well, what is Evan?
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
I think of me? And the fact that you had that as that's your rebellious nature, like, no, 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 what do I think about this? Somebody did you right growing up, man, to give you that, or you just were
Yeah. I
have
don't
a
know.
strong soul or something along
I don't
those
know if I
lines,
could
because
point
that's
to anything. Yeah.
that's a
Yeah. Yeah. You made
tremendous.
a good point. About like first person versus third person. One of the big things I've recognized with myself growing up, but is also extremely valuable to entrepreneurship now, is I consciously will look at third person viewpoint of myself and situations and surroundings, and I do it often too. Right? I like everyone's got their POV, right? But most people don't consciously zoom out and like look at like what am I actually doing, how am I actually operating, who am I hanging out with, what am I listening to, what am I reading, like what am I basically exposing myself to, and like is that in line or in congruency with the individual that I'm trying to be, or is it not? And do you have the confidence or the balls to walk away if it's not, and everything too? And
Yeah.
really it's
Or to
it
judge
comes out.
yourself properly, to
Yeah.
stand with the cognitive dissonance of like, oh shit, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to keep doing that, or I've been trying to stop doing that. I've been trying to stop
Hmm.
eating ice cream at 2 in the morning for however long. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, of course.
it's uncomfortable to look at the reality of failure or dissatisfaction, but that's the only way that you can like be present and take the next step. You know what
Of
I mean?
course. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm holier than thou and always have it together, right? But that's the foundational framework that I try to attack a lot of decisions with, right?
Exactly.